Yeah. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Elk Grove Unified School District for August 8th, 2023. At this time, I'm going to announce that the board will meet in closed session to address items 1 through 3 on the closed session portion of the agenda. I'm going to call for public comment on the closed session items. Mr. Hoffman, do we have any blue cards?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. I am going to close public comment on the closed session portion and recess into closed session. Thank you. We could have everyone please take their seats so we can begin. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Elk Grove Unified School District for August 8th and announce that the board met in closed session and no action was taken. Good evening and welcome to the Elk Grove Unified School District's board meeting. The Board of Education has resumed full in-person board meetings unless remote attendance is permitted pursuant to the California Brown Act. Live streaming of full in-person board meetings will be available to the public via the Zoom platform. Today's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on the district's YouTube channel. I'm going to share some information about the public comment process, which has been evolving. During regular board meetings, the public may make public comments on items on the agenda or items not on the agenda. Individual speakers are allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda item. The total amount of time allocated to public comments by the board will be limited with a total of 30 minutes designated for a specific item. Public comments during regular board meetings may be made about items not on the agenda, but within the school district's jurisdiction. Public comment may be made on all items that are on the board agenda and will be heard when the selected item comes up. Individuals may not defer their time to another speaker to increase their total time beyond 3 minutes. Please be mindful that district students may be watching. You are encouraged to address the board and the public in a respectful manner, such that all of those observing, from children to adults, are made to feel welcome, safe, and valued. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group shall be grounds for the board president to provide a warning and then to terminate the individual's privilege of addressing the board. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to welcome up to the front of the room Ms. Elizabeth Ramirez Trejo and family, Ms. Jody Boyle, principal of Miwok Village Elementary. Well, I read a little bit of information about this family. Let's step right up there. So welcome. I'm going to tell these nice folks a little bit about you. Actually, do we do the pledge first? No, I'm forgetting the order. Pledge first? We read first. Okay, my apologies. So welcome again. Miwok Village Elementary School proudly honors Mrs. Elizabeth Ramirez Trejo as our education partner. Her exceptional dedication and contributions have significantly shaped the success of our school community. Since the school's inception in January 2022, Elizabeth has been a vital force engaging the community and helping define our mission and vision. As a devoted mother to her 2 adventurous children, Regina in 3rd grade and Pablo Emilio in 1st, her passion for education extends to enriching the lives of all students. As an active member of the school site council and the ELAC chairperson, Elizabeth's invaluable input has influenced crucial decisions for the school's direction. Beyond her official roles, she volunteers as a field trip chaperone, classroom assistant, and is actively involved in the PTA. She actively fosters collaboration between the school, parents, teachers, and the community, cultivating a nurturing environment for student success. We are deeply grateful for Mrs. Ramirez Trejo's unwavering support, passion, enthusiasm, which have transformed Miwok Village Elementary into an exceptional place of learning and growth. We would like to express our heartfelt appreciation for Elizabeth's outstanding example as she leads the flag salute alongside her children. Together, with support from parents like Mrs. Ramirez Trejo, we look forward to a bright future for our school community and the continued success of every child at Miwok Village Elementary.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
And if you'll stay there for just 1 second.
Stay right here. I won't be there. Thank you very much.
Let's give them one more round of applause.
Next item on our agenda is the first of our presentations or recognitions. First item is the recommendation of the name for a library at Carroll Elementary School. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments on this item via Zoom?
Madam President, we have no public comments on this item via Zoom.
Mr. Vargas, who is graciously filling in for Ms. Jamerson today, do we have any blue cards for this item, which is item 2-1?
So we might, let's see. So Michelle Rhodes Smith, did you want to speak on this issue? Okay.
I did get that right.
Give us just 1 second and then we'll.
1 second as we get a little organized, please. Okay. I know folks have come here to participate in a presentation, and I just want to know if we were planning on doing that during public comment, or was that going to happen? Okay,
I'm the only one speaking.
okay. Were you planning on limiting your comments to 3 minutes?
I will try.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because if you're part of an agendized presentation that we're preparing with you, you don't have to do it technically during public comment, and we don't have to limit you to 3 minutes. So if we can not do it during public comment, then I don't have to limit you to to 3 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So do you want to hold off and do it as part of the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah, that gives us a little bit of more flexibility, if that's okay. Don't move, everybody. Don't move. Stay right where you are. Yeah. So what I am seeing is that we do not have any blue cards for this item.
Correct.
Okay. And Ms. Lavasser said there are no Zoom items, so I'm closing public comment for this item and calling on Ms. Kristen Coates to present the item.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos, and the public. Tonight is a difficult night, but also a great night. We are bringing forward the recommendation for the name of the library at Carroll Elementary School. Consistent with board policy and administrative regulation 7511, community and staff members from Carroll Elementary School have requested to name the library at Carroll Elementary the Seth Thomas Smith Library. Administration supports this recommendation consistent with board policy, and I'd like to bring Dr. Graywall up to share Seth's story.
Thank you, Ms. Coates. Hello, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman and Ms. Avalos. We have here Michelle Smith, Seth's mom, and all those here from the school side as well and family to support Seth, and Principal Jack Ferreira. I just want to share a few words here. When you become a Carroll Elementary comment, you forever become part of a family that supports, respects, and honors all who are part of it. One such former comment at Carroll was an incredible young man named Seth Smith. Seth's education at Carroll began in first grade. His mother, Michelle Smith, was a teacher there at the time, and she continues to work there today. Seth promoted from Carroll and then attended Elizabeth Pinkerton Middle School, and then he graduated from Consumnes Oaks High School. Seth went to attend University of California at Berkeley with a double major in economics and history. In 2020, Seth tragically passed away in Berkeley. His life was certainly taken too soon. Seth always lived life to the fullest and had a positive impact on all that he met. He respected and valued education as well as theater arts, but Seth's true passion was literacy. He was a voracious reader and spent hours devouring novels from the school library. He was an extremely kind, intelligent, caring, and a very inquisitive young man. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that Seth would be going on to make a difference. Often buildings and facilities are named after people in order to honor their legacy. The Carroll Elementary staff and community would like to honor Seth's life and passion for literacy by naming the Carroll Library the Seth Thomas Smith Library. All current and future students at Carroll Elementary will be able to visit the library and see his name on the building along with a plaque to commemorate his life. Perhaps through this act, students will be inspired to become passionate about literacy, just like Seth. The Smith family has been part of the Carroll Elementary community from the beginning, and we are all in agreement that we would be honored to show our love and support to Seth and the Smith family. And Michelle?
Well, she took some of the words right out of my mouth. I am Michelle Rhodey Smith. I'm going to try really hard not to cry. Thank you for giving me the time to speak to you. Seth was a really unique kid. He was from being a little boy. He was reading at 3. By kindergarten, he was reading Magic Treehouse books. And by first grade, Matt Phillips, his first grade teacher, was mad at me because he could read already. And he said, what am I going to do with him now? Again, as Ms. Gruel, right?
Very well.
Explained, he's been in Elk Grove since kinder. He went to Pleasant Grove Elementary for kinder and then graduated from CO in 2018. He had so many AP credits. He had a full year of Berkeley completed. When he got there, he only had to do 3 years. And sadly, he was taken from us by an angry neighbor who hurt him at 19, just a couple weeks shy of his 20th birthday. While he was at Carroll, and some of my colleagues here can attest, if he got in trouble, it was for reading. He would read during math, and then Ms. Leon would say, put that book away, and try to trick him by asking him the answer, which he always already knew. He just was a voracious reader. I think he saw books as friends, and he devoured knowledge and like it was food. Books open our minds to other people's perspectives. They bring us empathy and compassion, which he had. Just a quick anecdote. When he was at Pinkerton, a young man named Mike Infante, who happens to be disabled, he has CP, and he goes from wheelchair to crutches. He really wanted to try out for a play on stage. And he was really nervous, and Seth saw him sitting off to the side, and he said, hey, hi, my name's Seth. What's your name? Made friends with him. He asked him, what's going on? And he said, well, I'd really like to try out, but I don't know if I can manage the stage. And he said, come on, dude, come on, you can do it. He got a part. He went on to do theater at Sheldon, and he's now making movies. He just finished a movie with Pedro Pascal. So Seth inspired him to have a career. Another gentleman at CO, Kevin Yu. I'm still in contact with many of these kids because Seth touched their lives in a positive way, so they stay in contact with me to let me know where they're at. Kevin wanted to drop out of high school. Sorry, he wasn't exactly feeling good about it. He didn't think he was successful. Seth encouraged him. They were in homeroom together, whatever they call it, avid, and kind of cajoled him along. And he is now getting his master's degree in criminal justice at Sac State. So I feel that my son, although taken from us in a untimely way, was a really good influence on the community at large. And I have a long list of people that I could name who he touched, either through theater, through math. Mr. Matsumoto's here, and he can attest to the fact that in middle school, one of the kids, Emma Buckman, they all adored Seth. He was one of the smartest kids in the class. And she had shirts made that looked very similar to this. This was a shirt made for a vigil we had after his demise. And on the back, it said 6 ways to Seth Bonna. And the whole class bought the shirt and wore it every Friday and called Friday Seth Day. And they would dance and they would do math and he said he loved one on the back. It said argue like Seth because he loved to argue with Mr. Matsumoto to try to prove him wrong. If I'm incorrect, I think he proved himself correct a few times. He just was a light that is gone. And we would like for that light to continue and perhaps hopefully inspire the next few generations to love reading and knowledge and gathering that compassion and empathy, just like him. So I think for us, attaching his name to this building brings that light to us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and to all of the other presenters and folks who are here today. Thank you for bringing us this opportunity to make a fitting tribute to a remarkable young man. I would like to call for a motion to approve the request from Carroll Elementary School staff and community to name the library at Carroll Elementary School, the Seth Thomas Smith Library.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Albiani, seconded by Mr. Yang. All in favor, please signify.
I'd like to make a amendment, excuse me, that
Comment?
I like to see those individuals. Could you possibly bring those individuals one of these days to this board to present during public comment? Because that's very powerful.
Yes.
What you just said, that he influenced a lot of students within our district, and the district needs that, good positive behavior and that feedback. It makes my heart bigger.
Yes,
And
I could try. Some of them
Yeah.
don't live in this area. They're in
Mm.
college elsewhere or graduate school.
well,
elsewhere.
whenever they could come,
Okay.
make a point, because
Mike would love
Yeah.
to. When Mike Ponte did a play downtown in downtown Sac recently, my husband and I went. And he held up, there's a sweatshirt like this. It's an orange sweatshirt, long story, but he held it up in front of the entire audience and said, I do this for him. So yeah, Mike he would love to come and talk to you.
and that's, the fact that he graduated 3 years and went on to the UC system, that's one of our goals and objectives. That's a $1 million story that we need to put out there in our community. If he could do it, everybody else could do it. That gives enthusiasm and spark and the whole works.
Thank you, Mr. Bettis. I neglected to check across the dais for comments. My apologies. Mr. Fortuna, go ahead.
Thank you for your comments about your son. I have a couple of questions. Oftentimes with people in general, but certainly with children, they'll see a name. The name doesn't mean anything to them. And considering there's several reasons why we'll be naming the library after your son, but certainly one of them is his love of reading. Will there be anything posted in the library that is a short, description of him and the why?
Ordered, one of my colleagues already ordered that. And on his, he was cremated. And on his urn, which is a book, it's a brass book, it says, a reader lives 1,000 lives. Those who don't only live one. And that's going to be on the plaque.
Okay, and that plaque will be placed inside.
I think it's just at the door. It'll be at the door, at the entrance door on the wall outside.
Okay.
And then we're going to have like a corner, like a section of shelving where it will say Seth's favorite books, because I know what they are. In fact, they're still in his room. So we'll make sure we have that list of books that can kind of inspire kids.
Well, that's terrific, because kids will see that, they'll go, who's Seth?
Yeah.
And
Well, and I'm still
then
there.
see, they'll be able to explain it,
Yeah,
the why. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
wonderful.
yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I forgot. It was in my notes, but I get distracted and sorry. So when he was by the time he got to 6th grade, he had read every single book in the library, every one of them. And Jeanette Demmel, I don't know if you know her. I think she's a Franklin now maybe, but she was our librarian at the time and she would personally go buy new books just to give him, so he had more to read. As did Paul Howder a couple times. So, I mean, when I say voracious reader, I'm not kidding. I think in fifth or sixth grade, Carla, he read the dictionary for fun. He read his social studies, like he read everything.
Wow.
He couldn't get enough. So he enjoyed Russian literature at Berkeley. So what can I say?
Sounds like he's going to be very inspirational for the students at Carroll. So with that, we have a first and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The resolution, yes, recommendation, I don't know what it says here. Yes, it's approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolutions, we've got a few of these today. First is for Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments via Zoom for this item?
Yes, Madam President, we have one public comment via Zoom for this item.
Okay, let's take that first one.
Joyce Brown.
Okay, Mr. Mate.
I can talk now?
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
Okay, why did I went off can you see me?
I
Oh,
don't, your camera is on, but we can hear you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, Mr. Mate, if we can get the clock up, please. There we go. We're ready for you, ma'am, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, good evening, Elk Grove Board members. My name is Joyce Brown, and I'm here to present a solution and a guarantee to our slogan, leaving no child behind. There's a proposal that I would love for you to consider and accept it. It is the Miracle University Dropout Prevention Program. Just to give you a few highlights of the program, we solved the high school dropout crisis. There are 4,000 high school dropouts, which includes all the districts in the Sacramento County. Most of these high school dropouts could have been identified and prevented based on failing grades and poor attendance, especially in the 9th grade. This is what we offer: mentors, tutors, specialized internship, plus they are paid along the way, and scholarships. We just graduated 31 tier 3 students labeled as impossible on July 22nd, 2023. Now, many schools and districts are interested and trying to be a part of the Miracle University. I am now challenging Elk Grove to do the same. We already have the support of Valley High School and Laguna Creek. So right now, I am praying and hoping that you will approve our proposal. I am really hoping that everyone can hear me and understand the importance of this proposal. I work with Laguna Creek High School BSU, and I love Laguna Creek. My kids went to Laguna Creek, and I don't want to see any child fail. I don't want to see that anywhere. And if we have a solution and we can do this, I appreciate it if you guys would consider and just really look into it. We have enough I know you'll say, well, we have so many students that are failing. It's enough that we can do it for everyone. And I want to thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Yes, we have one blue card. Miss Amanda Jimenez.
Hello. I'm here to talk about the suicide prevention awareness.
Can you step a little closer to the mic? I want to make sure everyone can hear you.
I'd like to provide support for suicide prevention awareness. To truly practice suicide prevention, we need to provide an environment that students feel safe, connected, and accepted. A huge component to this is representation. Feeling seen and supported. Conversations about the hard stuff is important for those who feel alone or feel like they don't belong to know that they are not alone. Nearly 20% of the high school students in the United States have considered suicide, and they are definitely not alone. They deserve to be here just as much as anyone else. Their families deserve to be here just as much as any other. They are equally a part of this community, and none of this is possible without representation. These students deserve to be taught about all walks of life. They need to be able to seek out conversations without fear of overly drastic response from undereducated personnel, often due to lack of exposure. They deserve to know that there's help when they're feeling helpless. Books and educational material that represent all types of existence and all types of circumstances is necessary to make those hard conversations easier and to reinforce that hate and discrimination will not be tolerated. It is not enough to just acknowledge the existence of others. We need to help them see a life worth living. By including material that represents all different kinds of cultures, identities, and struggles will help promote a space conducive for acceptance. Awareness that not everyone learns the same, loves the same, or looks the same is key to the message that you can make an impact, you can be successful, you will be encouraged. This does not damage any other way of life or infringe on anyone's parental rights. In our country, 1 in 4 youth identifies LGBTQ. LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their peers. 45% of LGBTQ youth have seriously considered suicide. Elk Grove has 63,000 students. Can you imagine if the estimated percentage of students who thought to commit suicide were successful? There'd be over 12,000 students. Awareness breaks stigma, opens doors, and welcomes more conversations. Awareness is not possible without being aware of what causes suicide, and that includes lessons in our schools that uplift differences. No one benefits from suppressing real life occurrences or circumstances. Suicide is preventable. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that the only ones?
That is the only blue card on this item.
Okay, we have concluded public comment on that item. Mr. Ross?
So good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. I'm here this evening to present resolution number 3, recognizing September as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Although suicide prevention is important to address year-round, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month is dedicated to time to work together to act to reduce stigma, encourage help seeking, connect individuals with suicidal ideation to services, and reduce the impact of suicide on our families and friends. Suicide is a preventable health problem. Yet the Center for Disease Control reports suicide as the 10th leading cause of death among adults in the United States and the 2nd leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 24. The overall suicide rate in the United States has increased by 35% since 1999. The stigma associated with mental health conditions and suicidality work against suicide prevention by discouraging persons at risk for suicide from seeking life-saving help. By recognizing Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, the district is shedding a light on this highly taboo and stigmatized topic. EGUSD is dedicated to educating and encouraging students, staff, and families to recognize the warning signs of suicide and to guide those in need of appropriate services and support. While the district has communicated the importance of suicide awareness in the EGUSD parent and student handbook through many staff trainings and on our ID cards for our students, this resolution memorializes the district's intent to further amplify the importance of suicide awareness and build an annual public awareness campaign to support the services available to our students and families. A quick note regarding our pre-service for all of our staff this year and its connection to mental health and suicide awareness. The focus of this year's pre-service was to build community and to be socially connected. So our staff received that training this year. That collaborative work being done to build community and develop connections with each other and our students and our families was incredible. I had the opportunity to see a few of those. And this is from CDC as well. So when we are socially connected and have stable and supportive relationships, learning can flourish. And we are also more likely to make healthy choices and to have better mental and physical health outcomes. We are better able to cope with those hard times when they come, the stress, anxiety, and depression. It was a great start to the year. So thank you for your time tonight. And I respectfully ask the board to approve resolution number 3, recognizing September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Comments?
Yeah, thank you. Just as with all of our other resolutions, this one is meaningful and valuable. And I just need to say, Don, that thank you to you and all of our staff throughout the district, because as long as I've been on the board, this has been a subject that has been in the forefront. And the district has been responsive in its training with staff, the provision of communication at the schools, providing crisis information and telephone numbers to children. So it's a subject we know is important, and it is one that I know that as a district we've taken very seriously. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add, I don't think the general public is aware of the work that you just mentioned. So thank you for highlighting that. And when we have conversations about other things, this is always running in the background because of the training that we've had, right? We understand if we're doing an intervention with a student on any issue, what the tie-in could be to risk factors for suicidality. So it's really critical, and it relates to so many other issues. So thank you for that. Mr. Bettis?
When I worked for the maternal child health unit with the Department of Health Services, we did data on this issue. But there's another data set that people don't realize. It's the number of attempts before you actually commit suicide and you died. So, you know, there's another data set that people need to realize or be aware of, but you know, a lot of these students and people who commit suicide, they have attempted doing this more than once. And so, you know, maybe next time you could provide us with that data, and also data from, you know, state of California and maybe school districts. You know, I haven't seen them in school districts, but I know by county they have it. But yeah, it's a very serious situation that we have here and throughout the world, you know. Thank you very much.
Mr. Yang?
Thank you for reading that proposed resolution. I lost a family member, a cousin of mine, to suicide this past March, and it feels so surreal, but it's very confusing and painful. And the work that the school district are doing, I'm thankful for that, and I hope that we continue to touch and help out more kids, because it's not necessarily just helping them in their teenage years, but adult life as well, and for the rest of their life. So thank you for this work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to call for a motion to adopt resolution number 3, recognizing the month of September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
I move approval, resolution number 3.
I second it.
Moved by Mr. Fortuna, seconded by Mr. Bettis. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have the resolution for Constitution Day. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments via Zoom on this item?
Madam President, we have no public comments via Zoom for this item.
Thank you. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards for this item?
There are no blue cards on this item.
Thank you. I am closing public comment and inviting Lorraine Blomquist up.
So, good evening, Madam President, school board members, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos. So do you want to start with 5, the Constitution Day?
Yes, ma'am, that's what we have first.
Okay. So September 17th, 2023 will be the 236th anniversary of the formation and signing of the Constitution of the United States of America. The finalizing of the Constitution had taken place after months of deliberation and discussion, and it would be many more months before the Constitution was ratified by the states. In March 1789, the Constitution was declared to be in effect by the first U.S. Congress. The Constitution that still governs and guides our country today has had significant political influence around the world. The values and beliefs that are represented in this document are ones with which citizens of our country should be familiar. In 2004, Congress created a federal holiday, Constitution Day, designated to be September 17th. In May 2005, the U.S. Department of Education stipulated that all schools that receive federal monies must hold an educational program pertaining to the United States Constitution on September 17th of each year. Through this resolution, the Board of Education would communicate a clear message about the importance of our country's foundational governing document, as well as the importance of civic values. In support of this resolution and in recognition of Constitution Day, the Curriculum and Professional Learning Department will offer a virtual workshop called Upholding the Rights of the People, the California State Constitution, on Tuesday, September 19th, of this year, 2023. Additionally, school sites will receive information and resources for observing Constitution Day at their sites. And so at this time, I ask that the board adopt resolution number 5, designating September 17th, 2023 as Constitution Day.
Thank you, Ms. Blomquist. I'm going to call for a motion to adopt resolution number 5, designating September 17th, 2023 as Constitution Day.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved by Mr. Vargas, seconded by Mr. Pettis. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. The resolution is approved unanimously.
Okay.
And I think you're here for the next one. Citizenship and civic learning. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments via Zoom for that item?
Madam President, we have no public comments for this item via Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Do we have blue cards for that resolution?
There are no blue cards on this item.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment and go ahead, Ms. Blomquist.
Okay, these two go together nicely. It's the goal of the Elk Grove Unified School District to prepare all our students for success in college, career, and civic life. Schools are a critical place for students to develop the civic knowledge, skills, and values needed to effectively participate in our democracy by having classroom instruction in government, history, law, and democracy, discussion of current events, service learning, extracurricular or co-curricular activities, student voice in school governance, and simulations of democratic processes. Students who engage in the community and participate in civic action gain knowledge about school, local, and global issues and are prepared to succeed in college, career, and life. 12th grade students in EGUSD will be eligible to earn the California State Seal of Civic Engagement on their diploma. Therefore, it's requested that you adopt resolution number 4, citizenship and civic learning as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Blomquist. I'm going to call for a motion to adopt resolution number 4, citizenship and civic learning as presented.
I move.
Motion from Mr. Yang. Do we have a second?
So I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Bettis. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The resolution is approved unanimously. Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to public comment for items not on the agenda. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments via Zoom for items not on the agenda?
Yes, Madam President, we have 3 public comments via Zoom for items not on the agenda. The first person is Elda Garcia.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hi, good afternoon. I just want to share this verse first before I begin, Matthew 18:6. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believes in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Mr. Hoffman, I know you did respond and send an email as well, Elk Grove Unified School wide email on July 28th. And you did mention briefly about the materials in the school library. Well, you said the library books being reviewed. My concern is it wasn't received by many parents, so I'm not sure what distribution is being used. And if you could please update parents so that they know that they have to be on emails. I know I received from the school, to update my information, but, like I said, several did not. I'd like to read to you again, Penal Code 288.2 makes it a crime to send harmful or obscene material to a minor with the intent of sexual arousal or to have sex with them. The other one is 288.3, the statute that makes it a crime for someone to contact a minor or attempt to, knowing they're a minor, with the intent to commit a sex crime or felony involving. It is very alarming to know that there's pornographic books in the elementary schools or any of the school libraries in Elk Grove Unified School District. I've asked you various times to cite to me under what regulation or what authority you've been given to authorize these books. You've not provided that information. I know, again, you have noted you're going to have a group for parents to be able to review these books, but I really would like a response on my questions. The sexualization of minors is not why children are being sent to school. And so it's very alarming, again, to know that children can go view these types of books that would not be acceptable in a regular work environment for adults. And then my other comment is on the special ed children with special needs are being moved from school to school because of staffing needs. This is unfair because it doesn't allow the children to establish long-lasting relationships. Many thrive with consistency, and I understand if a child would need to be moved to a different school in order to be provided the services that they need, but this isn't done with regular school children. So I just think that's something that also I would ask that you please look into, and keeping some stability of the children with special needs. Again, I look forward to hearing from you on what statute or what regulation you're using to authorize these pornographic books, because some of them are very graphic in nature. Showing how to have sex is not acceptable.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next comment is from Wayne Shepherd.
Go
Yes,
ahead,
I
Mr.
can.
Shepherd.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my name is Wayne Shepherd, and I want to say greetings to the board members and thank you for this opportunity. I'm a local pastor, a military veteran, and citizen of the Elk Grove community. I'm here to advocate for all students in our district who are potential dropouts. I would like to emphasize the proposal by Joyce Brown for Miracle University. Just this past year, this is fact, 31 students in Twin Rivers Unified School District failing in high school, written off as potential dropouts, were enrolled in the Miracle University program. Now, it was said that it would be impossible for these 12th grade students to change their ways and graduate. But this summer of 2023, 100%, I did say 100% of these potential students who are supposed to be dropouts, they graduated from high school with admission to college or are now on a career path. That is a miracle indeed. As a result of the success of the Miracle University program, hundreds of families at other schools throughout Sacramento County have requested to enroll their failing high school students in the Miracle program this year, starting in September of 2023. Miracle University Dropout Prevention Program is currently partnering with every district in Sacramento County We would like to therefore once again humbly ask you, the Elk Grove Board District, AMAS School District, to consider and accept our proposal to to enroll and transform every at-risk student and parent in our district who has requested to be in the Miracle University Dropout Prevention Program. We would like for our failing high school students to be enrolled in Miracle this September, if at all possible. Thank you so much for caring about our kids and families and answering their plea for attendance at the Miracle University. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Final public comment via Zoom is from Dustin Noble.
We get him up on the screen, Mr. Mate? Okay. Okay, Mr. Noble, it sounds like we don't have you on the Zoom platform. So let's see, we did Zoom. Let's move to blue cards and we'll come back to Mr. Noble if he's able to connect. Go ahead, Mr. Vargas.
All right. So we have a number of blue cards on this item. So let's start with Sean Connolly. And after that will be Ayan Cardoza. And please feel free to correct my pronunciation when you get to the mic.
So folks, come on up and we like to let you know who is the next speaker so that if you could start queuing up, it helps us move a little bit faster. We appreciate it. You need to
My
move
name
that.
is Sean Connolly.
Hey, I don't want to interrupt you. Just for everyone who's new to the room, if you need to move that podium up or down, there's a black button there that toggles up or down, and just in case anyone needs to.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So my name is Sean Connolly. I represent the Tree of Life and BBOA and work with fellow partners hooked on fishing, not on violence, and we can work it out. So we're here to support the Miracle University. And when I was coming up, there was not a lot of programs for us that was failing. I was a screw up when I was a youngster. I went to Valley High School when I moved to Sacramento, California. And so we just here because we have a lot of youth that we mentor. And so education is very important to us. And so we would just ask the Elk Grove Unified School District to send those who are having trouble and dropping out to the University of Miracle School. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Next is Aaron Cardoza, followed by Tio Sessions.
Good day, you guys. My name is Aaron Cardoza. I'm the president of an organization called Brother to Brother. We do a lot of good work around Sacramento. Today, I just want to introduce Miracle University. Miracle University is a new school, a new program to where they want to identify the dropouts around Sacramento school districts, right? And I was once a dropout until 2020. I just graduated and got my high school diploma. Thank you. And I'm 50 years old now, but it's just the lead and the head guy that has the Miracle program. He was my mentor. He was my tutor, and it's just good that we have this program going on now. I'm in support of it. I work mostly in the Del Paso Heights area, but all around Sacramento. And Miracle University is just a program needed right now to stop a lot of, gun and gang violence, because if you're not going to school, you're getting into something, right? And so I'm in support of that, and I hope that you guys get on board and all the school districts get on board, because I'm gonna go to all the board meetings to try to get them on board, because it's well needed around Sacramento. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next up, Tio Sessions, followed by Daniel Chestang.
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. My name is Theo De Niro Sessoms. I am here in support of Miracle University on behalf of my company, Trend Consulting LLC. And I am also an employment specialist for an organization called Exodus Project. What I do at Exodus Project is I assist those returning citizens coming home from jails and prisons with finding employment. I was at Miracle University's first graduation. It was actually in the same building Exodus Project is located on L Street. And I was there for the 31 to watch them walk that stage. I am in very much so support for Miracle University because I actually went to Valley High School. I was there class of 98, but I was there 94 to about mid 95. And I was kicked out under based on a misunderstanding that nobody wanted to understand. After that, my life had its turmoil. I went to prison when I was 19 years old. I was sentenced to life without plus 15 years. It took me 18 years to get back. The kids that graduated from Miracle University are 18 now. So their entire life I spent in prison fighting to get back. I'm stubborn. I've been told that since I was small. So that was one of the reasons also why I was able to go to the Ninth Circuit twice, the U.S. Supreme Court twice, to have myself freed based on illegal police tactics. What I am here to tell you guys, as well as hopefully motivate you all to support Miracle University, is we just took six students yesterday to CRC for a construction technology class, a tour, so that they can see what their future looks like, so that they're given the opportunity to see as a career, they're starting their jobs $26 an hour, and they're able to build. My goal is to see to it that they do not quit on themselves. So in support of Elk Grove School District, we sincerely need you on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, Daniel Chestang, followed by Carmen Ayan.
Evening, panel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. My name is Daniel Chestang. I'm a Senate Bill 261 candidate. I'm a youth offender, just like the brother who just left. I left at the age of 18 and I was returned home July 4th of 2022. So my stint was 29 years. In that 29 years, I had to understand what it was that made me do the things that I did, right? What this program is allowing the population, the community, is an opportunity for individuals to actually come and be a part of those who were like me, who were misunderstood, who were not represented, who were not loved, who were not supported. My family moved me from the south area of Sacramento to the Elk Grove district. I am an Elk Grove district individual. 1992, I got kicked out of Elk Grove High School because I was going through some things that no one would ask me what was going on. And you have this program that is able to communicate and talk that lingo, talk that dialogue with those individuals who may not be able to express who they are or what they're going through. I believe that this program will actually aid the community and stop this pipeline of juvenile hall, prison, and murders, the murders that are going on in Sacramento right now in this time of summer. They need mentors. They need people who are able to communicate with them, people who actually understand what they're going through, and to be able to pull them up, be able to pour into them the love and understanding that they have. Coming out of the institution, I've had to learn myself, which was the most difficult thing because no one ever told me this. They never gave me the direction. I had to learn it in order to be found suitable to return back home. And with that insight, the majority of us who have returned home are dying to give back to the community who desperately needs it, because we have seen that pipeline. We've seen those who we grew up with. We saw their kids. We've seen their kids inside. 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old come inside of the institutions. And I believe that if you have this program, that you will be able to give them an upper hand, give them a leg up to help them out, which helps the community.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank
No
you.
no comments, sir? No
No, it's not a
discussion?
comment. It's a request from you that we need
This is not the
information,
time for
contact
any.
information from these individual groups.
We
Because
have it.
in the
We have it.
future,
We have it.
I would like to
have it.
have us meet with them,
Okay.
you know.
Mr. Bettis, you are out of order. We already have contact information from this. group
Okay,
for
but
your
we
information.
need to meet. Thank you.
We have. Thank you. Next person.
There are issues.
Thank you. Next up is Carmen Aon, followed by Joseph Thomas.
Good evening, respective board members. My name is Carmen Aon. I'm a former student from the Twin Rivers Unified School District and the UC Berkeley alumni. I'm here to advocate and encourage the installment of the Miracle University program to the Elk Grove district. This will provide the opportunity for every failing high school student, specifically urban schools, students from Valley High School to be enrolled into the Miracle University Dropout Prevention Program this year. This will improve graduation rates, attendance, UC college graduation rates, and overall achievement and in the improvement of our safety of our students in the community. Every student at risk deserves the chance to be enrolled into this program because we will see the improvements of the dropout rates and specifically students going into juvenile hall and the continuation school development as well. So I'm here to encourage you guys all and challenge the opportunity of the installment of Miracle University. I want to share with you guys that this last year, 31 students who were ran off as potential dropout were enrolled into the Miracle University program in December of 2023. And 6 months later, all 31 students rose from years of academic failure, poor attendance, and hopelessness to graduate from high school and succeed in the college and career force. So definitely encourage you guys all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Joseph Thomas, followed by Stacy.
Hello, everyone. As you know, my name is Joseph Thomas. I'm one of the founders of an organization called UnitedandGuided.org. I am also a recipient of programs such as this university. I resided in Sacramento, California at the age of 13 years old. I started my first endeavors into gangs when I was about 15, 16 years old. The whole goal was trying to find a family, right? I didn't understand that the in-between between the family and gangs was kind of alike, right? And when I say that is, we get a part of teams for comfort when we don't have a real family. So when me and my mother came out here, it was just us two. I didn't have a father figure. I didn't have no one that could actually really stand up for me, being I didn't have no brothers or sisters. So I turned to the gangs as not a form as protruding violence into my community, but for protection. So when I see a program like this university, I see that same platform of protection for these kids. So when you look at the age that I got involved in gangs was around 7th grade, 8th grade, right around the time when we start getting to the point to where we start actually feeling ourselves and understand that we're closer to manhood. So I believe by looking at people like us, which I also consider myself a returning citizen because I did take a trip to the other side. I came back home and was able to correct myself through different platforms of education like problem solving, conflict resolution, restorative justice, and then strengthen myself in order to reach back and show these kids that you can create a family associated to the learning experience coming out of gangs. So I reached back to a lot of my peers that got involved in gangs when I did to try to show them a lot of the correction that I did to make sure we can reach back to our community. So in that sense, when we got in contact with somebody like Dr. Roger, the founder of this university, we felt like we can be more of a spokesman for him to be able to show these community that these type of organizations does work. When you can set up a platform where the kids can lean back on for support instead of leaning back on the gangs like I did.
right? Because like I said, it was more about family than it was trying to destroy our community. So by setting up these type of platforms for kids early, where they can reach out to, instead of reaching out to the shiny objects that's going on around them, we got more of a probability of them succeeding later on down the line, right? I am also 50 years old. Like I said, I took a trip to the other side, did a little bit of time correction, had a mentor that stepped up in my life when I was 13, 14 years old that never gave up on me.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next up is Stacy, followed by Amelina Mendoza.
Hello, I'm Stacy, a librarian in this district. One of my favorite quotes from the novel Walk Two Moons is, "Don't judge a man until you have walked 2 moons in his moccasins," meaning we have to understand someone's challenges and experiences before we judge them. A lot like we just heard about. You may have heard of how books can be a window to the imagination, but really they are opportunities for us to view others' lives. It has also become popular that books can serve as mirrors, reflecting back and reaffirming identities, such as those who identify as LGBTQ+. According to Rudine Sims Bishop, professor at Ohio State University, books are sometimes windows, offering views of worlds that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. Take one of my favorites growing up, The BFG by Roald Dahl, where a kind, big, friendly giant roams the streets of London, ensuring children have only good dreams. This became a window for me into the effect we have on others and the way we can incorporate kindness into everything we do, and that giants are friendly. Books can also be mirrors, as literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us, becoming a means of self-affirmation. The questioning Margaret goes through of, well, everything in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, acted as a mirror for me in my own coming of age process through the pre-adolescent years. I knew I wasn't alone in my confusion of growing up. Books are tools for understanding complex issues. Limiting young people's access to books does not protect them from life's complex and challenging issues. Instead, it leaves them defenseless and without a toolkit for how to navigate life. Let me give you an example. There was a 10-year-old girl who picked up a book at a library in Delaware. The book included a chapter on sexual abuse, much like The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which has been read aloud here many times for its graphic descriptions of the sexual molestation of a daughter by her father. The 10-year-old Delaware girl read her library book and saw it as a mirror for her life and trauma because she too was being molested by her father. She didn't have words to describe what was happening to her until reading that book held up a mirror in front of her. She also finally saw a way out because if the author grew up to write about it, then this girl could survive the trauma too. She brought the book to her mother and said, "This is me." Her mother read the book, seeing a window into what was going on in her household, her husband's betrayal, her daughter's pain and suffering, and she took her husband to the police. Their father was arrested, tried, and convicted. The judge stated there were heroes in this case. One was the child and the other was the book. Please do not remove books. Elk Grove Unified has over 63,000 students in 68 schools. We do not have the all-knowing ability to predict which book is going to connect to which student in our district. All we know is that having books available to students, even ones that depict situations we would never wish on anyone, saves lives. As the judge said, books are heroes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Amelina Mendoza, followed by Heidi Moore.
Okay, I have received an email from the Elk Grove Unified School District Communications in which it said that the district is in the process of reviewing and updating policies and regulations regarding the selection of evaluation of instructional materials for classroom and school libraries. My question is, who is working in these policies and regulations? Are they employees? And is there an opportunities for volunteering parents to be involved in the process? I am aware that a feedback opportunity will be granted to parents via online. However, my experience with the feedback the district has put forward in the past lacked transparency, and it was done after the process was already completed and perhaps even approved. I would like to be part of the process as being while it's being developed, not after all the decisions have been made. Being Hispanic and having worked with many, having experience with many Hispanic marriages and youth, I believe my input in these policies can offer valuable perspectives. Please email me, letting me know the steps I should take to be part of this advisory committee or whoever group is working these policies and regulations. So I could be included or I could know what the steps to take. And since I have a more minute, I would like to just make a comment regarding your selective camera. It seems like for the general public comment, the camera records about 45 seconds in the front of the person, and then the rest of the minutes is from the back. But it doesn't happen when people who come here and ask for resolutions and topics in the agenda that people wants to pass, and they come here and present that. The camera keeps, filming them from the front the whole time. So I wonder if the public comment is less important than the comments of other people who come here and make their comment regarding something that they are bringing to the board in order to approve. So I don't know if the camera is set that way or what's going on, but I just do not appreciate myself being recorded from the back while other people are recorded from the front the whole time. It's either everybody from the back or from the front, and no selective recording there. So that's why I always have a friend coming to record me from the front, because of the selective camera setting that you have here in this room. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hear from you. I don't know if you want this with my information or you have my information there. I would like to know more about these policies and regulations that are being taken care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since it is our practice to always make sure that someone is designated to respond to specific questions, I just want to note that I did receive your email. Thank you for reaching out. I responded. I don't know why that didn't answer your questions, but I will resend and make sure you have the information. Thank you.
All right, next up is Heidi Moore, followed by Ron Owens.
Okay, first of all, I would like to address Mr. Hoffman because I noticed that he shook his head during Elda Garcia's comment when she questioned when you will be implementing the parent committee to help approve and oversee books. He shook his head as in he disagreed with her, or she had no idea what she was talking about. But I do have an email from Mr. Soretti that promised that would happen by July 19th. And obviously that day has come and passed. So just another example of why Mr. Hoffman and others in the district are lying to us, and it's not parents lying, it's you guys, because I have the email. So that's pretty disrespectful to do that. Okay, so it's back to school time. So that means the parents have the opportunity to opt their children out of PG-13 and R-rated movies. So this shows that the district acknowledges on some level that parents have rights and that ratings are important. It also shows that you should recognize that some material may not be appropriate to minors. Oddly, these simple principles are somehow being ignored regarding parent concerns over pornographic books that graphically depict pedophilia, promote sex acts to minors, and much more. The book Push is a perfect example of that because this book has been made into a movie called Precious. That movie is rated R. So let's read an excerpt from this book about a dad raping his daughter. I'm your daughter effing me illegal, but I keep my mouth shut. So the effing don't turn into beating. I start to feel good. Stop being a video dancer and start coming. I try to go back to video, but coming now, rocking under Carroll now. My twat jumping juicy. It feel good. I feel shamed. See, he slapped my thigh like cowboys do horses on TV. Then he squeezed my nipple, bite down on it. I come some more. See, you like it. You just like your mama. You die for it. He pull his dick out, the white cum stuff pour out my hole, wet up my sheets. So that's just one example. There are several in that book. So how is it that I could opt my children out from participating in that movie? But you can somehow supply it to my children without acquiring my permission, without even letting me know? How is that okay? it's not okay. And the fact that there's that discrepancy that you recognize that parents should get to sign the permission for R-rated movies, for PG-13 movies, but not for books that contain the same content, if not worse. It's very concerning. So you need to stop ignoring our valid concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Next up is Ron Owens, followed by Charlotte Rieger.
A Northern California man was arrested in Book and County Jail on one count of possession of obscene matter of minor in sexual act, which is a felony. A Southern California man was arrested for allegedly downloading and distributing child sexual abuse material over the internet. The case of the Northern California man and the case of the Southern California man is pending. However, a San Joaquin Valley man was sentenced to 21 months in prison and fined $5,000 for transferring obscene material to a minor, a U.S. attorney announced on June 20th, 2023. These are just 3 examples of thousands of people who have been arrested, tried, convicted, and sentenced in one of 21 federal prisons, one of California's 34 state institutions, or one of 58 state county jails. What specific law did they break? They broke California Penal Code 311.11, paragraph A, which I quote, prohibits a person from knowingly possessing obscene materials depicting a person under the age of 18 years old engaging in or simulating sexual conduct. In previous meetings, I have noted Elk Grove Unified School District's policy prohibits employees from sexually harassing others. Your pornographic books contradicts your own policy. In previous meetings, I've noted there are federal and state laws prohibiting the grooming of minors. Your pornographic books goes against these laws. The previous speaker just read a pornographic excerpt. And in this meeting, I note people are arrested, tried, sentenced, incarcerated, and have to register as a sex offender for the exact same pornographic material that is being propagated in district schools and that is shelved in district libraries. In closing, I want to note that my heart went out to you, Mr. Yang, when you shared about your loved one. We grieve for you, and the community offers you our condolences. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Charlotte Rieger, followed by Rhett Pennell.
Someone told you the right pronunciation. Thank you.
We get it eventually.
Good evening. We still need direction on how these sexually explicit books will be handled. They do need to be removed from our shelves. I would like an email explaining your authority on allowing sexually explicit books, Mr. Hoffman. I would like one too. As I watched the movie Sound of Freedom, it brought back discussions and thoughts from the board meetings that I have attended or listened to. The sexually explicit books are normalizing sex for the students who read them. What attention is being brought to those students? Isolation, learning different sexual acts, grooming children for sexual acts, making them think that being sexual at a young age is normal, keeping secrets, adults telling them how awful children are, and training the children in sexual promiscuity. Guess who loves those kinds of children? Pedophiles and sex traffickers. The more that you all show that you're supporting these books, the more it shows that you're part of this grooming process. Yes, I said it, grooming process. That's exactly what it is. You're just making these pedophiles and sex traffickers salivate that you're doing the work for them. They don't even have to train these kids. You all are training these kids by allowing these sexually explicit books. This is not a right or left problem. There's no choice in what child is going to be abducted or put in those sex trafficking situations or pedophile situations. It's all the children, all of them. The children's innocent is not for sale. These books have issues that the children are not emotionally, intellectually, or morally able to handle. We need our children to be able to enjoy childhood and not know the sexual differences of everything. I'm going to close this by a quote by Booker T. Washington. A lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become good just because it is accepted by the majority. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Rhett Pennell.
My name is Rhett Pennell, and I just have a couple questions that I keep asking, but I haven't heard anything yet. First is, are the kids going to really be safe at school against bullying and fights and things? And this happens all the time, every year. So I'm just curious, what is being done to prevent it? What the bullies or the people that start it, what kind of punishment do they get? And I do know that from my own experience with my grandchildren, my granddaughter got in trouble and she wasn't the one that started it. So I just want to know where the justice is in that. Second one, Title I schools. Is there a hard copy somewhere that tells you what a Title I school is entitled to? What do the children get with a Title I? And are they different from state to state? Because my grandchildren went to a Title I school in Nebraska. They got a lot of stuff. Our Title I school, they have to pay for a lot of stuff. So is that different here? So I would like to know exactly what it means here to go to a Title I school and what the children are entitled to. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hoffman, could you have someone reach out to answer those questions? Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And that is the end of our blue cards.
Wonderful. So that concludes public comment for items. Oh, thank you so much for reminding me. Did we get, was it Mr. Morgan or was it Mr. Noble? Yeah, is Mr. Noble back?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go ahead and pull up my notes here. All right, good evening, President Chair Espinosa, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. I want to thank you all for your continued support for special education and the students and families we mutually serve. At EG Speaks, we support students, parents, and educators advocating for kids in special education. When we say educators, we mean teachers, support staff, including our wonderful paras, campus security, the lunch person in the lunchroom, librarians, anyone that touches the lives of our kids and supports their academic journey. Librarians in particular are there for reading supports and ensuring our levels programs get the needed curriculum they so desperately need to support our children. Today, EGUSD librarians are under siege, being harassed, villainized, called names, and threatened both in person and on social media. This is happening in our district, to our librarians, at our schools. They feel unsafe in a job that should be the least threatening or hazardous, one of which is a member of the EG Speaks support team. This is appalling to me and should be to all of you as well. The same voices in this chamber calling out the books, sex ed curriculum, anti-Pride Month, the list goes on, as so does their agenda, are the same people going after our librarians. I'm calling on this district and its administration to condemn these acts and to immediately acknowledge and support the staff being affected by this. Let's start this school year strong with support for our site, librarians, and the students they work so very hard to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. With that, I'm going to close public comment for items not on the agenda, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Let's see, Ms. Lavasser, do we have public comments via Zoom for this item?
Madam President, we have no public comments via this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Do we have any blue cards for the consent agenda?
There are no blue cards on this item.
Okay, I'm going to call for a motion to approve items 1 through 25 on the consent agenda.
I move approval items 1 to 25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we have, excuse me, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Those items are approved unanimously. Thank you. Before we get into the following items, I'm going to call for a 5-minute comfort break. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to resume our meeting. Our next item is the 2023-24 budget update. Before we have the presentation, I'm going to ask Ms. Lavasser if there are any public comments via Zoom.
Did we already do consent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Sure. It was so quick. Madam President, there are no public comments via Zoom this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Do we have any blue cards for the budget update?
There are no blue cards on this item.
Thank you. I'm going to close public comment and take it away, Ms. Watkins.
Hey, I might need a tutorial on this. Wait.
We got to learn sometime. Don't worry.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and fellow board members, Superintendent Hoffman and Ms. Avalos. Tonight's presentation is an update on the enacted 2023-24 state budget and its impact on the district's adopted budget. This slide details our district budget cycle. We are currently between adoption of our current year budget and approval of last year's unaudited actuals, which will provide us with our expected beginning balances for the current year. On June 27th, Governor Newsom signed an on-time budget, the same day as Elk Grove adopted its 2023-24 budget. Our budget was completed based on the latest information available to date from the May revision. Tonight, we present changes that result from the enacted state budget. No action is required at this time, as sufficient budget authority exists to continue operations until action is taken with the first interim budget report in December. The 2023-24 enacted state budget maintained several proposals that were included in the state's May revision. These same assumptions were used in developing our 2023-24 adopted budget, such as funding an 8.22% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and maintaining core programs. There are some changes incorporated into the enacted state budget that will impact our 2023-24 adopted budget, such as reductions to one-time block grants. There is a great deal of uncertainty regarding state revenues until October tax receipts are reported. Lower state revenues could result in lower minimum education funding through the Proposition 98 guarantee. Currently, the Proposition 98 minimum guarantee for education is being funded through the delay and reduction of several one-time grants. There are numerous references in the Budget Act of intent to repay these in future years. It's important to note what isn't included in the enacted budget to balance it, using rainy day reserve funds, apportionment deferrals, or COLA reductions. These considerations are likely being reserved in the event October revenues don't materialize as projected in the enacted budget. The district adopted a protective budget in June to be conservative. This also protects the district if the state enacts a mid-year budget revision to address revenue shortfalls. The local control funding formula is the district's primary source of unrestricted funding. The enacted budget maintains funding of the statutory 8.22% COLA intended to support inflationary cost increases. This COLA is an increase in per student funding, not total funding. The funding formula also includes funding by grade span, as well as supplemental and concentration grants calculated based on the unduplicated percentage of enrolled English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, or foster youth. Half of the state's 1,000 school districts saw a decrease in their unduplicated pupil percentage. 30 districts lost eligibility for concentration grants. Elk Grove is one of these districts. We have implemented additional mechanisms for collecting eligibility data to ensure we are maximizing funding. This slide shows the amount received per each unit of student average daily attendance, or ADA. Loss of concentration grant funds per ADA amounts to an average of nearly $7,000 per ADA per year. Another addition to the local control funding formula is the LCFF equity multiplier, intended to close opportunity and outcome gaps. The state identifies eligible schools, including those with socioeconomically disadvantaged pupil rates greater than 70%. This funding was not included in the adopted budget and amounts to $627 per pupil, a total of $650,000 for Daler, Limebach, and Rio Cazadero. The LCFF equity multiplier is intended to supplement current funding to increase and improve services and supports and will be incorporated into the local control accountability plan. Proposition 28 funding received an increase in the enacted budget, resulting in an additional $1.3 million for arts education. As a reminder, these funds must be used to supplement existing funds used for arts education, with 80% being spent on staffing. We are still being advised to be cautious in planning and implementing programs using Proposition 28 funds, as the first date of apportionment is still unclear and additional state guidance is still needed. This slide outlines the changes and proposed reductions in one-time grant funding since the January governor's budget. Our one-time discretionary and learning recovery block grants were not reduced as much as anticipated in the enacted state budget. Our discretionary block grant is reduced by $2.1 million. We have yet to encumber or spend any of these funds, although the entire amount was budgeted in 2022-23. We have received 50% or $18.7 million with a balance of $15 million yet to receive. In the future, the board will be asked to approve a plan to spend these funds, and funds must be encumbered by June 30th of 2026. The district already received its total allocation of $71 million of learning recovery emergency block grant. The enacted state budget reduces that amount by $10.3 million, but includes intent language to restore the cuts in future funding years. Elk Grove has intended to use these funds to maintain staffing levels funded by federal one-time ESSER dollars. This slide summarizes the amount of the changes discussed on the previous slides. Adjustments to these funding plans will be brought forward to the board at a future date. Staff will continue to monitor and incorporate changing assumptions in state revenue, district enrollment, and ADA. Budgets are developed based on the latest information available to date. This includes reviewing daily attendance at the start of school, CBEDS data as of October 2nd, unduplicated pupil percentages as of October 31st, and state revenues in October. We will also monitor our LCAP spending to increase or improve services as changes in the funding formula occur. And we must evaluate needs to support the use of numerous one-time supplementary funds. As a reminder, we will next present our 2022-23 unaudited actuals in September, providing our starting point for our 2023-24 budget. This information will be incorporated into our first interim budget in December, reflecting revised budgets and actual activity through October 31st. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins. Colleagues, as Ms. Watkins said, this is an information item, no action today. Our next action on the budget is at first interim. So we do have time for questions or comments. Go ahead, Mr. Fortino.
First of all, thanks, Mari. That was well presented and very concise. You indicated that we would be getting recommendations soon on the arts education. What does that look like?
The arts education plan, I believe we need to bring to the board. I don't know what the soon date. We have to talk about that. And I don't know if Superintendent Hoffman wants to address that.
Yeah, I don't have a date for it yet, but it'll be when the October workshop, the special meeting, that's going to be kind of a deep dive into, okay, so what did the two block grants mean? Because we lost money out of the big one. And then we're going to ask for direction from the board with regards to the more flexible one, which is the one tied to VAPA. And part of the direction we're going to look for is, do we want to use some of that to cover what we lost with the larger recovery block grant, and then use the rest of it. And we'll ask for general ideas, but large chunk areas of where the board wants us to move forward, and then we'll dive into the plan. But that'll be the October special meeting. That's going to be the big dive in that we've been promising for a while. That'll be the October workshop.
Okay, I'm just uneasy with that.
2026 is when the funds, so we have.
What I'm uneasy about it would be any attempt to divert in any way the monies from arts education.
Understood.
To do whatever. That's what.
That'll be the conversation. Yeah, with the whole board, everybody have an opportunity to chime in, and we'll share some recommendations from staff as we've looked through it. So it'll be a good conversation.
Okay, thanks.
We know where you stand.
Any other questions, comments from Ms. Watkins? Go ahead, Beck.
Can you show slide 11, please? On the, oh, maybe I was wrong. They've come up with a new multiplier.
So 10, this slide?
10.
They changed the criteria. So originally, we didn't think any of our schools qualified, and now three.
$150,000 for the three that you mentioned, correct?
Correct.
Is that what I read?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I made that connection correctly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Related to that, Ms. Watkins.
I have a question.
Okay, well, I've started asking mine, so I'll go back to you. I think around slide 9, you gave us the per pupil amount that was the result of the loss of the concentration grant. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, the bottom row is the amount of funding per grade level segment for concentration grant eligible students.
Yeah, that's a tremendous amount. Okay. Thank you. So yes, as it stands, we could stand to get 650,000 from the equity multiplier, but it doesn't really stack up to the 9 million that we lost from the loss of the concentration grant. So yeah, and it goes 3 different places. Wonderful. Mr. Bettis?
That's exactly what, first of all, I'm at the Elk Grove Unified School District webpage to get the agenda. And under the budget update, 2023-24 budget update, it only has your 10 pages, but it doesn't have your presentation. Is that any reason why you didn't have it on the webpage?
No, it should be, it will be updated.
Yeah, I think there's a different document that was attached perhaps by accident, or I don't know if that was intended to be supplementary.
What?
So the document that was posted on Friday was the document that we had. It was the from the county offices, the summary of their view of the budget. This particular presentation, Ms. Watkins was working on it to get it ready to go for tonight. We will make sure that this is available to the board, and we'll post it to the agenda as well.
But the public didn't have an opportunity to look at this or even have the opportunity, because they didn't have it. They didn't even have the opportunity to call in tonight to give input or to this issue. And this is one of the issues I have. In fact, I don't think it's right to have this item on the agenda if the public has not received adequate information.
Well, there's no action being taken.
Well,
It's
regardless,
it's an informational item,
right?
And we'll make sure it is posted. And before the board is asked to take action,
right,
all that information will be made available.
Yeah, but from this date till the next meeting, there, people, are going to see this tonight, would absorb this information and even have questions tonight. They may have called in, may have wanted to call in if this was on our site, last Friday.
Well, the information that's in this presentation here is just a different format of the information that's on the agenda. It's the same information.
Well, not what I see on the page right here. There's 10 pages and that's, well, this is.
Doesn't line up page per page, but the information is
That
related
page that
to.
you have here, and it's, I like your presentation, by the way. It's very clear. Okay, but yet, the process that we're doing this, I'm not sure it's up to standards or whatever. I think it's a issue regarding Robert Rules of Order or whatever we have.
Your point is taken, Mr. Bettis. Let's move on.
The fiscal impact from this district not going out, doing a survey of our students. And because yearly, this was the first time that we never had 55+% of our populace students being identified. So we lost what the fiscal impact did that have on our budget?
You're conflating a couple of things here. We do surveys every year as part of the LCAP and other processes, and this is also not the first year in which we lost the concentration grant.
Shared this multiple years, and it's a 3-year average that they do, but we've been below the 55% mark for 3 years.
2 years,
and we've reported that to the board each year, and we've let the board know that if this continues, we're going to fall out of concentration once the average goes, and that's why we've identified dollars in our reserve to make sure the services that we're providing are still there. So we've taken this action over years to make sure we'd be ready.
We didn't spend any energy. You said it yourself. We should have went out there and did on-site reviews and requested the community to identify themselves, low income. And go for these low cost, luncheons.
We did lots of that.
Mr. Bettis,
because I know for a fact that if you do a demographic study on our community in area 3, Valley High, 1, Florida High, Monterey High, and throughout these other things, we have 55+ students in our populace.
Okay, Mr. Bettis.
That's a fact.
Mr. Bettis, when we ask questions, we have to allow people to respond to that.
Hold on, that's not a question.
No. You've made a series of questions and comments, and
but I know-
Watkins is sitting here
therefore-
patiently, and she would like to respond and provide some information.
Thank you, Madam President. Member Perez, we have implemented some additional measures in the last couple of years to try to get the information. I don't disagree that our community probably is more reflective of a higher unduplicated percentage, but the challenge is getting families to be comfortable reporting their income levels. And so we have instituted this year through online re-enrollment, the opportunity for families to check with just a couple radio buttons, whether they qualify or not, just to state their income level. We also are still sending out nutrition applications. That's one means. We get direct certifications from the county for families that already certify as socioeconomically disadvantaged. So we have multiple measures, and we're making an extra push, recognizing that this is a huge impact to the district. We call it our educational benefit form, and it is included. It goes to all families through the online re-enrollment through Synergy and Parent View.
Right.
So
and I know
we're actively.
Right. And I know other districts go and spend millions of dollars or, hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this, and they have positive outcomes. And for every dollar you spend, they get $6,000 per student. And this is what really irritates me, the fact that we do not aggressively going after this money, just like we didn't do on community schools. We lost millions of dollars because we qualify for community school funding, but yet this board did not go forward. Or when I suggested that, I didn't have the support.
You're giving out some information that's inaccurate, so I'm going to ask you to move on.
Yes. So we as a board, we need to tell Mr. Hoffman, go for this supplemental concentration money, spend money on staff to go out there and register these people and do talks on each campus, each classroom, PTA, whatever it takes, get that 55% plus so we can get supplemental concentration money to support. As a result of that, look at these tests that we have. Poor outcomes of academic test results.
We're off
That's what
topic.
really
Okay, Mr.
upsets me.
Bettis, let's stay on the budget. And for the record, all of those conversations have taken place in this boardroom. The
No,
direction
that's
has been
not-
given,
I
the
just-
activities have been carried out. I'm sorry you don't remember them.
Yeah.
So we're going to move ahead. Go ahead.
And
Ms.
the other
Albiani.
issue is the art. We need to start spending that art money now.
And you have
we
heard
got-
when
we got
that is
a lot
coming
of
back to the
programs
board.
we could say. We could be buying instruments and I can't believe this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bettis.
One-time dollars to do that through us. So we've done that with some of the one-time dollars already in support of the arts. So
Bless them.
I just wanted to add to the record that my children are 1 year out of school, but we spent many years getting promoted and asked to, and I received numerous emails to register my family. So the fact that just the perception that we are not doing that work was not true when I had students, and that was 2 years ago.
That's one person,
Thank you.
one family.
Yep, one family with students in the district. So with that, I see no other hands for questions, comments. Thank you, Ms. Watkins, for the presentation. We look forward to coming back next time. Next item on our agenda is the Communications Department update. Ms. Lavasser, before you come up here, do we have any public comments via Zoom?
Madam President, we have no public comments via this item on Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Do we have any blue cards for this item?
There are no blue cards on this item.
check with bargaining units if they want to.
Did I skip? Okay, it's crossed out on my list. I don't know why. But yes, do any bargaining units wish to address us? Thank you. Apologies.
Our fault, we lined that one out, sorry.
Oh, thank you for calling me on that. I don't know. We have a little typo up here. I apologize for that, folks.
Oh, I'm supposed to do this. Good evening. Representing CSEA. We've had some leadership change, so I am now the new chapter president.
Congratulations.
I wanted to share with you that we, CSEA had a conference July 24th through 28th up in the beautiful Reno, Nevada. We had 6 delegates and one state conference community member, Tina Kute, who is a buttercup. There were over 1,800 CSEA members at the conference. Elk Grove was recognized as having the best community page in our Facebook status. Kim Howell, our communications officer, was pulled up on stage and received an award. And CSEA also raised over $128,000 for the humanitarian fund. So any unit member who falls on hard times is eligible for that humanitarian fund. So we just wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you for the update.
you.
Congratulations. Okay, so getting back to the communications update, I heard that there were no public comments via Zoom and no blue cards. So we welcome Ms. Lavasser up to the podium.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos. I am so excited tonight to present an update on the Communications Department. Tonight's format is going to be simple. I'd like to introduce you to the team. I'm going to share a few areas of focus, how we evaluate our work, and then talk about our next steps, exciting what the future holds. And then, of course, questions at the end. So I want to first start by thanking all of you for supporting Superintendent Hoffman's reorganization of this department and creating this position. I am extremely fortunate to work with this dynamic team that you see in this picture here and in the back of the room over here. For the last 9 months, as a new team, you would think that we would have a hard time trying to figure out what we're doing, but we have not. We have gelled. They are an amazing group of human beings, and I'm excited for the future collaboration ahead. As you can see, we are a small but very mighty group, and I want to just highlight a few of the things that these various team members do. There's no way that I do this work by myself. It is absolutely a team. So James Tan is one of our communications managers in the back there. He comes to us with an excellent skill for writing and came with a background in the district, working in district communications departments. So James focuses in on some of our press releases, our media advisories, and helps all of our schools and our district with our crisis communication.
Excuse me, can your staff come up? I can't see him over there. I see half his face.
They're more than welcome to. I just didn't want to make them stand.
Bashful, come on up here.
Okay, we don't need to keep people standing for the duration of the presentation. You're fine.
You might want to say something too.
We have also Lori Wallace, who is another communications manager on our team. Lori is the newest member of our team and comes to the district with a background in journalism and reporting. So Lori is specializing in storytelling, also working on our relationships with our local media. She brings that strong skill set in as she has worked in local news. And then she has created something new that we'll highlight in a little bit called our employee spotlight. Then we have our veteran staff, Tremaine Lott, who has a keen eye for all things graphics, anything you see on our websites. He specializes in making sure that everything looks good on our websites and in the communication that we send out. He also is instrumental in creating our student handbook, as well as making sure that our website and our school's websites with Kathleen Watt have the support that they deserve. And then not here tonight is the person that really is in charge of all of us and organizes all of us is our incredible assistant, Trina Davis. I know many of you have met her as you come into the office. So this slide should look familiar to you. I know you've seen it a few times, but I wanted to put it in front of you tonight to remind you that this is what guides our work. Everything that we do when we communicate focuses in on our EGUSD learning vision. So you might ask how? So in our next slide, this is what we mean. So when we talk about high quality curriculum and instruction, we are focusing in on employee recruitment. It is our job to partner with Human Resources Department to make sure that we are hiring the best and brightest educators. And we do this by promoting and marketing various positions. When it comes to student assessment and program evaluation, we help share surveys. We ask for feedback. We support our schools with their various communication and surveys and methods of assessments. And we make sure that this is out in various ways. When it comes to wellness, we build awareness and we keep our community informed during a crisis. When it comes to family and community engagement, we want to make sure that our families and our communities are aware of all the fantastic work that is happening across the district. We want to make sure that they know about it and that they are engaged. And then finally, we want to do this in a way that is done through an equitable lens. We want to make sure that our messaging is inclusive for our various populations in our district. So tonight I'm going to talk about a few key areas of focus that our department is focusing on over the past year, but over into the future as well. So when we talk about our key areas of focus, we do this in a way with messaging and storytelling. Our goal for the communications department is to stay relevant. We know that our world changes rapidly, and it is important and up to us to make sure that we keep up with that. We want to make sure that when we send out messages, that we are communicating with our families and the community, that we do this in a timely way, in an inclusive way, and in a relevant manner. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like. So our number one priority this past couple of months and into this next year is to focus on positive stories. our district is massive and we have wonderful things happening around our large district. So one of our goals is to highlight the various things and activities and events that are happening at all of our schools. So I want to give you an example of what this looks like. So hopefully this works.
Eduardo Romero is a freshman at Elk Grove High School.
This program, I know it's been here for a while, but I mean, this year really just, I would say, started to blossom.
The students with blossoming interest in the school farm, not in the barn, but in the greenhouse.
Them, maybe they're not so into the animal projects that are at the farm currently or going to be hosted in the future. And they just want something that's after school, relaxing, that they can work on independently or with a few friends.
We've pretty much tripled the amount of plants in here, tripled the group working here, and I could tell kids loved it. I loved it.
It's a labor of love, and for the first time, students are sharing that with the community.
So we'll have a lot of people come out here and they'll choose 3 succulents of their choice, their own pot, and we'll mix the dirt, then they'll get to plant their own plant and take it home.
And after the succulent planting party, the work continues with everything from projects to research.
So students can come out here and have their agri-science projects out here, learn about propagation techniques, learn about watering practices that would be in a normal greenhouse to prepare them for landscape materials or anything in the plant nursery industry.
The kids love what they're learning, but just being there has its perks.
You know, it's a nice place where you can come, relax, plant a few plants, watch the plants grow. I mean, it's a lot different to see a plant in a greenhouse and see how it grows compared to at home. You can see the plant just really thriving.
I know a lot of students at first, they didn't really think that they were going to have a love for plants or things like that, but then they come out here for their agri-science project or join a friend. They're like, hey, no, Mr. Sanders, I want to sign up for this. This is really cool.
A cool program that takes a lot of commitment and, with the help of the community, potential to help it grow even more.
But I want some of the money to go towards the students. So hopefully we can take that money and put it back into the program and buy some more succulents, but also kind of give them some money in their student account where they can pay for their yearbook or pay for their FFA jackets. Things that make them feel like they're being rewarded by being out here and all their hard work.
So I'm proud to say that video was created all in-house with Lori's background in journalism and James and Tremaine's skill set in creating videos. We were able to do this type of story and many like them the past several months. We put them all on our social media, and then we also send them out and highlight them in our Friday communications. All of these examples up here are positive stories, and I don't have time to share them with you all, but hopefully you follow us on social media and you've seen them. The next area that's a key area of focus for our communications department has to do with public relations. When it comes to public relations, consistency is key in effective communication. Excuse me, throat is sore. One of the areas that we focus on is in recruitment. We are constantly marketing and promoting various vacant jobs and new job positions. We partner with the Human Resources Department to promote our job fairs. And we do this in lots of different ways, on LinkedIn, in various universities, on our social media, in different publications, different associations, magazines, websites. We also conduct TV interviews and run a few commercials, which I'll show you that in a few minutes. I'm proud to say that with this effort, we saw a huge turnout for our classified job fair. We continue to do this, and we hope that our ability to reach the community and go beyond will continue to bring some of the best and brightest to our school district. The employee spotlight is what you see in the middle. This is a new feature that the communications department has created. I mentioned earlier that that consistency is key in effective communication. So twice a month, the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month, you will see our employee spotlight. And in the beginning, we focused in on classified staff that we knew we had to fill positions for. So we sent out an email to supervisors and directors and said, do you have anyone you want to nominate? We had lots of forms come in, which is great news. So every other week, we highlight a new employee. On the feature, it talks about what they do, what they love about their job. There's some quotes from their supervisor or their colleagues, and then a little about 5 fun facts about the employee. What's great about it is on the bottom, there's a tagline that says, if you're interested in joining EGUSD team, for more information, see here. Then we have a link that takes you directly to the join page. We have seen lots and lots of great comments and reviews, and our employees who are being spotlighted feel they're humbled and they feel honored. So we're going to continue to this. We started kind of in this building, and we're going to continue it beyond and put it out to schools for them to nominate employees that are doing spectacular things out in our district. Next key area of focus is external communications. We know that our families and community rely on us and our schools for updates. We have to be really relevant and timely on our information that we send out. So we do this in various ways. You'll see all the various ways that we have different social media platform. We have School Messenger that sends out our external communication. We have the ability to do this for every family who has given us an email. And we have the ability to do this for every employee. Sorry. We also have talking points. Talking points is a game changer, is what teachers tell me. Talking points allows our teachers and our principals to send out communication in over 100 different languages. Also allows the communication, thank you, bless you, the communication to be translated both from the school and from the home. So a family can respond in their native language. As of today, when I checked, we had over 42 different languages being used with talking points. Also allows for teachers to take pictures and send videos home, and it translates them. Our website, Catapult, is our website server. All of our websites use the same format and template. We want to make sure that our team is supporting school staff to keep it updated, keep it relevant. And I'll talk about in a little bit next steps around what that's going to look like. We also think it's imperative that we support our school district, our school leaders, and our district leadership. One of the areas that I'm most proud of is how we do that. Being a principal is a huge and very busy job. So I believe it is our responsibility to support our schools when they need us, especially when it comes to communication. We know that families will read an email from their principal and will read an email from their teacher, unfortunately, maybe before they read an email from someone from the district. That's that personal connection. So we want to make sure that our principals and teachers have the support they need to communicate effectively. We do this in a couple different ways. One, we support our schools with crisis communication. We also do this by asking them to tell us what are some of their successes so we can highlight the positive stories. And then we do this in district-wide communications as well. So like every large school district, we have our fair share of crisis communication. I want to give you a short, perfect example of that crisis communication and this incredible team behind me in action. So last January, you probably all remember, you should remember vividly, the storms that we had and the flooding that took place in the beginning of January. The team was only, new, working together for a few months, but the crisis doesn't care. So during that time, our team was constantly communicating out information to staff and families. And we knew it was important that we did this in a timely manner and that it was crucial that they had the information so they knew what was happening that day for their school site. I'm very proud to say that our team was very in sync with that. We had messages going out. We had pop-ups on websites. We had information out on social media. We had School Messenger going out. We had it translated. We worked closely with the EL department. It is important that we do that because our families rely on us. It is also, I have discovered, very important for us to have relationships with law enforcement, with our city officials, with our Office of Emergency Services. So that has been one of my goals this past year and will continue to be to work on those relationships so that we know what's happening in the city and they know what's happening in our schools. Internal communications. We also know it's important to keep, besides keeping our families and the community informed, it's important to keep our staff and our employees informed. So we send out internal communication in a couple of ways. We have our news and notes newsletter that goes out every week about different things that are happening in our district. We support several different departments in our district with newsletters that they send out to the principals and to teachers. And then we also promote employee discounts. We know our employees work really hard. So when we get things like discount tickets to the Sac Republic games or the Sacramento Kings games, we communicate that out so our employees can take advantage of that. When it comes to evaluation, we are always evaluating what we do because we know if it's not working for our families, that's a problem. Communication has to work for our community and our families and our schools. So we're constantly evaluating our impact and the services we provide. We study analytics constantly, analytics around what websites people have gone to and what websites they've visited, what videos they've viewed, analytics when it comes to our email campaign, who has read them, Eventbrite signups, who is coming. We also partner closely with our research and evaluation department in regards to sending out surveys. We also make sure that we provide various ways to do that and seek feedback on how to improve. So next steps. It was great. Sorry, I'm gonna get a drink of water. So some of the next steps we have on our horizon. We are fortunate to have an incredible curriculum and professional learning department. And one of the things that we plan on doing is partnering with that department to provide training from our department to our webmasters at our schools, to our school leaders, to our teachers, focused on improving and enhancing their communication. Many of you know my background, the family and community engagement and facilitating workshops, and a former educator myself. I want to make sure that our teachers and our principals have the opportunity and the training so that they can continue to communicate with our families in the most effective and the most relevant ways. We are working on creating different tools, for example, templates for our webmasters and for our principals to use when sending out messages. We want to create little simple messages that they can send out for attendance reminders, for different talking points messages, for different templates for their website so they don't have to recreate it themselves. We want to support them. We know how busy they are. We will continue to work with RED and the Family and Community Engagement Department. We were working on an upcoming parent survey, the most effective ways to communicate. We want to know what is the most effective way for them? Is it a text message? Is it an email? Is it a flyer home? So we will be asking that, and then depending on what we receive, we will follow that. And then finally, we are going to focus on promoting and marketing our job fairs, our vacant positions, in an area and in a way that we haven't really done. We realized that when I was kind of doing a needs assessment over the past couple of months, I realized we were missing out on a huge population, and that was our Spanish speaking population. That's our #1 language in our school district. So we met with Univision and started a little pilot with them. We created some advertising and some commercials and brought our employees in to be the stars. So I'm going to show you, it's really short, a commercial, and then on the other end of it, I'll explain where they saw it.
El crear futuros líderes requiere de manos, corazones y mentes dedicadas de profesionales que juntos quieren que todo estudiante logre el éxito. Actualmente, el Distrito Unificado de Elk Grove cuenta con posiciones de trabajo abiertas para los interesados en apoyar a estudiantes y maestros. Nos interesa siempre avanzar el bienestar, triunfo académico y destrezas para ayudar a los niños y fortalecer la conexión con la comunidad.
Es muy flexible para mí, entonces es muy satisfactorio poder trabajar para nuestra comunidad.
So to start, we asked a couple of departments where we knew they needed positions, hard to fill positions, or they had some vacancies. Our BTAs, our bus drivers, maintenance and operations, grounds workers, and food and nutrition. They all responded, yes, we would love to support this. And then we asked, do you have anyone in those departments that speak Spanish? And we told them why, that they would be featured in the commercial. So fast forward, we had quite a few volunteers, which was great. And we did two things. One, we had 2 interviews done that were featured on local morning shows about our district, about the classified job fair that was coming, about all the wonderful things that you can do in our district and the support you will receive. And then we created these commercials. And I say we, a partnership with Univision, created the commercials. They ran for about a month. And we know they worked because we had people come to the job fair and tell us that, but also we knew in the EL department, for example, for BTAs, they had about 11 or 12 positions vacant for several months. The director told me just recently that they had 35 people, possible candidates for those positions that they were going to start interviewing. So the woman that you see at the end is a BTA in our district. And if you don't speak Spanish, she talks about how wonderful it is to work in our district and that they should come and apply. So this is a partnership that we want to continue to pursue, and in various populations, not just our Spanish-speaking population. We know we have a Vietnamese and Hmong, Cantonese population, and so we want to make sure that we are reaching out to all various families and community members so they have the opportunity to come and work in our great school district. And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Lavasser. So colleagues, questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Yang.
Well. I just try to recall when we hired you on, and the thing that came to mind just listening to you presenting this is like, we got the right person. So applause to you. I love the energy that you bring to this board, to the community, and just the team that is reflecting our school district, even though that is a small team. But I think that it's a team that reflective of this community thus far. And I like what you guys are doing. I like the fact that you have videos that shows the type of program that we have. I know that we have more than that, but that sort of program with gardening and so forth, it's just very valuable for the kids. I myself love those sort of things. And yeah, so applause to you and the team, the work that you guys have done so far. I look forward to see more. A question I have here is, how do we interact with students, and that you think is the most effective way so far that you've seen?
So that's great that you asked that. I should have highlighted that. We had the privilege of having in the FACE department, actually, a student intern. this summer. And he sat with Tremaine for a little bit and gave us the student perspective on what he would like to see on our website and social media. So that feedback is key because we want it to be user-friendly as well for our students. Also, we'll be working with Isabella and featuring her and the student voice through social media.
So the stuff that I see on Facebook, is that through you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, great. And I see, most of the stuff I see, it's job opportunity and so forth. Did you guys post short videos as well? You guys do? Okay.
Yeah, on the Elk Grove Unified, yes, Facebook page and Instagram, you can find those, as well as I think YouTube, correct?
Okay. Yeah, the one I found was just, I'd scroll down the Facebook page and it just pops up. And I really like that because it's kind of randomly that you didn't expect to see it, but it pops up. So I like that a lot. So I don't know, we have to pay more money to boost it up or not, but I love that. And I think that would be really great for students to see us more often, especially the great things that we are doing here. And I love what you said earlier about, showing the positive stuff. I mean, once in a while, I'm sure we're going to show the bad news, but the positive stuff, it's we cannot get it enough. So congratulations, great job, and continue doing good work. One last question. Are you intent to expand the team, or this is a good amount of folks that you have right now?
Haven't even thought about that. We are a fabulous team.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great presentation. Some things stood out to me. Talking points, which I've been told by so many people has been a game changer in our whole district. And so I'm glad you brought that to this department as well. I know it is life-changing for people, from teachers to parents, I've been told about. I appreciate Sean's question on student perspective and how you're working to get that in, because we are serving students, but they are based on their family, and your background based in family and community engagement is shows in what you're doing. And I think it shows in the thoughtfulness of how you're delivering this information at this point. So it's greatly appreciated. I think training at the school sites to allow more consistency is an amazing idea, and going through CPL, just huge winners. And I noticed and completely enjoy seeing the positive stories. They're just, we have so many excellent things happening, and it's just great to be advertising those and sharing those and letting people know. And when you do job things, it's very easy for me to push that out to my Facebook world when you can just share. And so as a board, we have to be very careful what we do in social media and stuff, but you give us a very safe platform to be able to share that information. So I appreciate you all. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
I want to echo a lot of what has already been said. The employee spotlights are amazing. I started following you guys on social media, after our conversation when I first got elected. The positive stories are amazing. It's, so often I think the stuff that ends up in, the media and in social media and other places is the negative stuff, the stuff that is, controversial and makes people angry and, all those things. And it is so important to have the positive, wonderful stories out there that really are the vast majority of the feedback that we get, the vast majority of the stories that are out there about the successes in the district. So I love it. And I feel like I'm being really positive. Maybe it's this chair. Gina's energy is just coming through the chair. But in all seriousness, I love it. The other thing I appreciated was that you talked about, one of the next steps is working more with some sort of external partners like the media, and really building those relationships and building out, how to work with those external partners. one of the things that has always been, a challenge for me is having the lawyer brain and the educator brain kind of fighting with each other. And I think, everything I've seen so far is that you guys have really threaded that needle very effectively of giving the information in a way that is thoughtful and also very warm and student-centered in a way that can be hard when you are communicating with external partners and you want to be as thoughtful and safe as possible. So I've really appreciated seeing that in your in your relationships with the media and such. So thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to the good work that you're going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Mr. Fortuna, anything?
Hello, Lisa. First, let me say that it's a pleasure to finally have a functional and purposeful communications department. And seeing the work that the team is doing is really pleasurable from the standpoint that it is doing, or they are doing, the work that needs to be done to highlight each of the areas you've discussed tonight. And it's also for me personally pleasing to hear many of the proposals that we talked about in terms of how we can move the district forward. And in relation to those, Lisa, in terms of communication techniques and templates for schools, all of that'll be done this year.
Yes. Yes, correct.
Oh, I was being facetious. Really? That's fantastic.
Yes, it's already been started.
That is fantastic. I mean, because there's so much there to do. And I mean, that to me is really, really exciting that's this year's plan.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, teachers, when they get their credential or when administrators get their admin credential, there's no class on how do you communicate effectively to the community and families. But we can do that and we can help them with that. So yes, that is already in process and will continue and will grow hopefully over the next couple of years.
Well, again, James, Lori, Tremaine, you, Trina, are all doing terrific. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Pettis, anything?
Thank you very much for the presentation. Excellent report. When we were here 2012, there's only one individual. And now we have all these expertise in a variety of disciplines. But yet I want more. I want a TV station. I want a radio station. A lot of these, you went to the Spanish-speaking TV station and they, their expertise is reaching out to people. Excellent example to do that and get feedback and input from them and using them. And also the media's Channel 31. Now we hire a person from 31, but they have experience. They've been in the business a long time. Another area that I'd like you to explore using is the radio, Spanish-speaking radio. Farm workers, a lot of our people, they wake up 5 o'clock. They don't put TV on. They put the radio, in their car on the way to work, on the way back from work. So that's another media thing that get in tune with. You mentioned internships. I like that you hire that. We need more. Transition, use these communications majors at the community college, state, UC systems who are going to pursue this discipline. And they need units of credit working on site at some place within the media or within communications or key areas of focus in school districts. And I advise you to do it, and they get paid. They get paid by either work study or some type of funding. We have monies. The arts funding, I think we could tie that money into your program to do that. It just you getting creative and using those type of funds and get our high school students doing that too. That's another thing. Definitely we need to get our students. Our representative isn't here today, but yet I imagine that's on her your calendar to interview her and present her to the community. Training, I think page 16, training. That's a big thing that our community, as a result of COVID, yes, a community of people of color were getting in tune with the internet, distance learning, and but yet they still need training. I still need training, updates, because the applications, there's new applications, there's new techniques, there's new equipment that we all have to learn. We're all lifetime learners. So, that we need to train parents, and through the family, through our community engagement, we need to spend that money, how to use the media to communicate from the home to the school sites. That's a big project, but yet, we need to do that. And maybe we need another component or another person's or within your unit to do that. Training parents and, how to communicate and feel comfortable using that. A lot of times, they don't, they're scared. They're number one. I was scared when I started learning the computer because I thought I was going to blow it up or get electrocuted or something like this or mess up the network. But now, shoot, it's my lifeline to the world, the internet. So, they need that. And also cell phones. I know for a fact that every student in this district has a cell phone, and that's number one tool. So we have communication devices that are compatible to every phone, right?
Yeah,
and
very important.
Yeah, very important. So you guys are using that technology very well and notifying another person, people besides the Mexican media to use to communicate with a Latino Spanish-speaking community is the Mexican Consulate. They do an annual college career event there in the north side of town. And they get the students throughout the Northern California go there, career day, college awareness, blah, blah, blah. So and also they are tuned of people looking for work with visas that possibly could work for our districts, who are even teachers, nurses. You'd be surprised that all these people that come here, they come to this country for work. And they want to work, they're looking for work, but yet they don't know the process. They're learning the process. So, and then they have to go through another educational process of getting credentialed and, et cetera, et cetera. Well, those are the recommendations that I, like you to follow up. I think page 13, I have, page 13? Oh, very important. Crisis communications, someplace in our, I was looking at we're doing our video surveillance system. So we just okayed that, or I think I read it through our BC, one of our BCs this week, or last week.
That's not actually part of the communications department. That's safety and security.
I know it is. I know that.
So that means it's not part of this agenda item.
No, but we need to tie into that because you're going to get the latest data, latest reports, what's happening through what it call at the school, if it's a crisis. So, I didn't see, I'm not sure if you were tied into that a variety of people are going to be accessing that, because you mentioned earlier, you're going to be, because of what happened, the flooding, we have an emergency disaster network. So I think you also need to be part of that network to get the latest communications and know what's happening on these crises.
I am.
Okay, so you are, okay, so, okay. And also that, I went to the, again, the Department of Education to see like school disasters, emergency management unit. There's a whole list of resources on that, and also funding that we could apply for. So I want you to look at that one, the Department of Education, school disaster emergency management, and also disaster emergency resources. Those two places, I've seen some, for instance, thank God we haven't had active shooters, air falls.
Mr. Bettis,
Yeah.
you're veering off the agenda again. So can we bring it back to communications? I understand there's a nexus in emergency communications, but you're veering away from communications. So I need you to
Okay.
bring it back.
Okay, but the bottom line, pupil safety. Pupil safety, that's what I'm concerned with. Health and
Right.
safety, okay, yeah. And we need to be on top of this situation regardless if it, if it's on the agenda or not, or somebody feels it's not. But it's all related to me.
Know that we are.
Okay. And school safety plans, are you part of that also? Put input or?
No.
Okay. I think you should.
Can you wrap it up, Mr. Bettis?
That's about it, I think, I want to say, but again, I want to say you're the talent, I'm very aware of the talent that you have in your unit or division. What is it?
Department.
I think you turned your mic off, but sounds like you're done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know you got expertise in almost all fields, but I think I'm pretty sure that you need to grow a little bit bigger. Because, 63,000 students and how many sites,
68.
yeah, so we, and try to keep up on this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bettis. Mr. Yang has one more comment.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for putting the Hmong American Day there. I'm just curious, do you also promote like multicultural events? You guys do? Okay, that's great. Then that's what my recommendation was going to be, because this school district represents so many cultural, so many backgrounds. So I know for a fact that, Hmong American has a celebration on May 14th. And I know that other cultural has it too. So if you could promote that so that we as a community could attend, if we could, that would be really great. So if you're already doing that, thank you.
Once a month, we send out a community connection that any family who's given us an email receives that, and that's where we promote that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
One last thing, the disability community, how many reaches there?
That's a great question. Tremaine and Kathleen Watt have been trained in that, and make sure that when we communicate out, especially on our websites, that it's ADA accessible.
So, and they also get training?
Correct.
Okay, great.
I just want to address Mr. Yang's point. So if ever this happens frequently for me, I know we're all involved in lots of different groups and activities in the community. If there's ever anything that we want to share out to the community, now we know that it's Mr. Tremaine, who is in charge of community connection and news and notes. So I forward all of that stuff to Lisa usually, but now it'll be Tremaine. And whenever the opportunity comes up, of course, they have to deem it relevant and all that good stuff. But they do a great job of sharing all of that out. Yeah. So great comments. I agree with everything my colleagues have said, so I'm not going to repeat it. I will highlight just two things. I know that with respect to school site websites and the maintenance and just the production of that content, bandwidth for school site staff has been an issue. So I'm really encouraged by all of the measures that you're taking. I'm really eager to hear, to what extent it helps, and if there's more that we need to do after that. And, the work of communications is never done in a sense because it is always evolving, right? Particularly with respect to technology.
Yes.
Our communication preferences as adults are always evolving and, young people evolve even faster. We have had, young folks come here and say that they don't love our current methods so much. So I just am looking in the future to kind of hear what we can do to improve and it is just, it seems like it's a never ending, thing to catch up with whatever their favorite social media channel is today. But it's just something we need to remain on top of. And I look forward to hearing more about how we reach them where they are.
I didn't mention, but one of the ways that we plan on doing that is working with our student equity councils, seeking their feedback on what we provide and then giving the student voice that way.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Ms. Lavasser, the whole team. We really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
And they're here early, so get out of here.
Yeah. Next, we're going to move on to our action items. The first of which is the EGUSD Community Facilities District 2023-24 tax report and second reading of ordinance number 1 for 2022-23. Ms. Lavasser can't leave yet because we're going to ask you real quick, are there any public comments via Zoom for this item?
Madam President, there are no public comments via Zoom for this item.
Thank you. And Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards for this item?
There are no blue cards for this item.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Coates.
All right, good evening again. This is a follow-up item. It is an action tonight we are asking and recommending that the board adopt the Community Facilities District Tax Report. This is the second reading, a follow-up from last time. As a reminder, we have prepared the 23-24 Community Facilities District Tax Report, which sets the tax rate for each parcel within the district. The rate is based on information on each parcel in the district and tax formulas established by the passage of Measure A. This report is used by the County of Sacramento to prepare tax bills and collect tax revenues for the 23-24 tax year. The Mello-Roos Act requires that the board acting on behalf of the Elk Grove Unified School District Community Facilities District Number 1 adopt the tax report as a regular agenda item. The act requires that the action taken by the board is in the form of adopting an ordinance. Ordinance number 1, 23-24, when adopted by the board, allows administration to make changes to the tax report in response to appeals from taxpayers or otherwise in order to correct errors in the application of special tax to particular parcels. As a reminder, this current tax report that we're recommending tonight continues the current and maximum tax rate of $3.82 per month for existing development and $9.82 per month for future development per equivalent taxable unit according to the manner specified in resolution number 27 from 1986-1987. With that reminder, I will just ask for a recommendation, or we are recommending that the board take action to approve the 23-24 tax report.
Thank you, Ms. Coates. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the 2023-24 Elk Grove Unified School District Community Facilities District Tax Report and adopt ordinance number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Vargas, seconded by Mr. Fortuna. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. That item is passed unanimously. Ms. Coates also has the next item, which is Education Code Section 17556 et sec. Consideration of resolution of intent to convey electrical facilities easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District for the Elk Grove High School project. Ms. Lavasser, do we have any public comments via Zoom for this item?
Madam President, we have no public comments via Zoom for this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Do we have any blue cards?
There are no blue cards on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Go ahead, Ms. Coates.
All right, so we do have a recommended motion tonight. We are asking the board to adopt resolution number 2, 23-24 of intention to convey electrical facilities easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District for Elk Grove High School project, and 2, to set a public hearing on September 5th at the boardroom at 6 p.m. SMUD has requested that the district convey without cost an electrical facilities easement on Elk Grove High School site at 9800 Elk Grove Florin Road. The purpose of the easement is to allow SMUD to access, construct, and maintain electrical facilities serving the Elk Grove High School campus. The final configuration of the easement will be determined at SMUD's expense upon the completion of the installation of electrical facilities, recording the easement accurately in relation to the facilities. The resolution of intention must be adopted by a 2/3 vote by the board. And so we're recommending to take action on that resolution tonight, and we'll bring this back for public hearing on September 5th.
Okay, folks, this is a standard item to give SMUD the space to do the infrastructure work for our new facilities out there. So I'd like to call for a motion to adopt resolution number 2, intention to convey electrical facilities easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District for the Elk Grove High School project, and to set a public hearing on September 5th, 2023 at this location at 6 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Albiani, seconded by Mr. Pettis. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. That item is approved unanimously. Next item on our agenda is board member and superintendent reports. Are there any board members who wish to provide any updates on committee work? Seeing none, go ahead, Mr. Superintendent.
Okay, so I just want to recognize that Thursday is the beginning of the traditional and modified traditional school year. So we are very excited and have had the opportunity to welcome back staff, and they're ready to go. I want to thank everybody for the work they've done to make sure we're ready for the opening of the school year. I'm just very excited about that. I do also want to say thank you to the board and thank you to cabinet. I'm actually going to miss my first day of traditional school, I think in 30 years, because I'm going to be taking my wife Jude and I are going to be taking my son, dropping him off in Dublin, Ireland for his year master's program. So crazy excited, scared to death, all at the same time. But I appreciate everybody supporting me and making sure that can happen. So thank you.
Of course. Next item is consideration of future agenda items. Seeing none, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 8:51 p.m. I'll have a good night.